And somehow they persevered. By the 15-year mark, people finally figured out, oh, hey, these dudes from LA sound really good. The twin lead singers, oh, that is wonderful. The tall black guys in the background doing all the steps, they're wonderful. And even people in our own community are like, damn, how did we miss out on the Whispers? And now you go back and you hear people digging back into the catalog. It was like, wow, we really missed the boat on Whispers originally. Thank goodness for NB Goes On. Right on time for another ride on the Groove Line, the birthday edition. It is my birthday today here, Thursday, September 25th, with your host, Chris Stevens. Hopefully you all are doing well out there. I myself am blessed and happy to see another year of life. I am grateful to have another turn on this planet, another trip around the sun. So thank you all for tuning in, making this project of mine a birthday wish. People have really been responding to this show. I thank you all so very much. We're going to keep doing this until we can. And so it's going to be a weekly thing. There's going to be multiple episodes every week. I'm still looking forward to having more guests on, hopefully of a, musical variety, of course. And, we'll talk music, we'll talk shop and all of that stuff. And of course, it's still Whispers Week. So Whispers Week is going to go all the way into Friday. So for Thursday, if you missed the first 2 days, yesterday we did the Whispers top 10 love songs as picked by me. Your top 10 might be different. I highly recommend you go check out that episode. The day before, I talked about my first favorite Whisper song, My Heart, Your Heart. And go check that out. Tell us what you think. But today, Thursday, we're going to get into the real meat and potatoes of the matter. And that is the top 10 Whispers studio albums. That's right. We tried to narrow these things down to 10. They had 19 in total. That's a lot of records. But the 10 that I picked, I feel are the best representation of the Whispers, and they're all in different eras, mind you. Like, it's not just, stuck in the 80s, stuck in the 70s. There's a nice little hodgepodge here. I mean, as far as the ones that didn't make it, I just didn't have enough time to do a graphic for honorable mentions. But I can tell you that the Whispers Love Story, which I mentioned previously when we talked about I Only Meant to Wet My Feet, that's a wonderful album. One for the Money is the second Philly soul produced album. That's why the Whispers are so big here in the Delaware Valley. They spent 2 albums in Philly, Bingo and One for the Money. And the Whispers have been good money in this city in Philly ever since. You can also check out, their gospel album, Thankful. My mom kept telling me about that. I was like, Mom, I'm not gonna really get deep into the gospel stuff. Maybe I'll revisit Thankful another time. I mean, it sounded good from what I was listening to, but we're just going to stick to the R&B part of this. So sorry, Ma. But, the Whispers over the course of 40, 50 years of recording have so many great albums, and trying to narrow it down to 10 is tough, but I think I have a pretty good 10. So let's get started. Number 10, and I roasted this album when I was talking about, Walter's passing earlier this year and other stuff, but More of the Night for 1990, it's not a bad album. It's the Whispers' Capitol Records debut after nearly 14 years on Solar Records. And the key tracks you can see for yourself. They are My Heart, Your Heart, which I mentioned was my first favorite Whisper song. Innocent, which I said they tried to make the Whisper sound like Guy and Bobby Brown and New Edition and Belle Biv DeVoe, and it just didn't work, even though it's still a song that people dance to. Is It Good to You? That's an underrated Whispers cut right there. Swear I want to make it good to you. Oh. And Special Effects, their last collaboration with Leon Silvers III. So More of the Night, I mean, if you take More of the Night for what it's worth, it's a decent album. It's not something that's going to absolutely knock your socks off if that's what you're looking for. The Whispers had already been 15 albums deep by this point. I mean, this is who they are. And Capitol was like, well, we need y'all to kind of get with this New Jack Swing sound. And the Whispers like, we're not New Jack Swing, we're the Whispers. Hey, these record companies, man, they swear they know it all and they don't. But anyway, number 10, More of the Night. Number 9, 1983's Love for Love, which was, of course, on Solar. And this is an album that has a little bit of everything for everybody on it. And the key tracks are Keep On Loving Me, Tonight was written by the late Jerry Knight. You may know him from Ollie and Jerry. Ain't no stop, there's no stopping us, no stopping from breaking. Yeah, that Jerry Knight. May he rest in peace. Do They Turn You On? And Try It Again is an underrated Whispers ballad that I failed to mention somehow in the last episode. But Try It Again is another good love song from the Whispers if you want to get into the Whispers love song bag. Yeah, Love for Love, it was another one of those albums that in the middle of the Whispers run in the 80s that just, it was good, but it wasn't, the classic that people keep coming back to. The ones that we haven't mentioned in this countdown yet. They're coming though. They're coming. But Love for Love is a pretty solid album, to be quite honest with you. Number 8, I mentioned Bingo, 1974. This is their last record on Janus before they moved on to Dick Griffey and Don Cornelius' Soul Train Records. And they went off of Janus with a bang because Bingo was a really good album. This one was, written by Norma Harris, Ron Baker, and Earl Young before they had, splintered off and, really got busy with the Tramps. But this was a really, really good album from start to finish. I mean, the title track, it sounds like something that you could hear Teddy singing or Eddie Levert singing. Honestly, let me come off a side screen real quick. I always wonder what would have happened if Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff had approached Dick Griffey about signing the Whispers to Philly International. I always wonder about that. Because you got to remember, by the time the Whispers joined Solar, Soul Train at first, but then Solar later on. By the time they joined Soul Train Records in around 75, 76, Philly International was kind of in flux because here's the thing. The OJs are going to give you hits. But the few other groups like First Choice, the Ebonies, I mean, they were good, but they weren't, pop sellers. And then, of course, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes is about to fracture because Teddy has tired of Harold's foolishness. So what if Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff said to Dick Griffey, hey, let's keep these guys here? And because the two Whispers Philly soul records are really, really good. Bingo and One for the Money. I just happen to like Bingo more. Bingo just fit perfectly in that proto disco lane of 74. Everybody started to figure out, okay, what's this new 4 on the floor sound? What's up with these strings? What's up with this bass? We ain't got a title for it yet, but we like the sound and we're gonna keep it. So yeah, Bingo is number 8 on our countdown. Number 7, lucky number 7. Oh yeah, if you thought I wasn't gonna squeeze this one into the top 10, you're crazy. Happy holidays to you, 1979. The Whispers had a really good 79, if we're being completely honest, and we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, this is their first Christmas album, and it is one of my very favorites. The title track, Happy Holidays to You, is my favorite Christmas song of all time. Their version of Donny Hathaway's This Christmas is just really touching because, of course, Donny passed away earlier in 79, at the very top of 1979. And the Whispers had decided to go ahead and, take on that classic for their friend. And Funky Christmas has one of the best guitar lines I've ever heard. It's like one of those little, like, just listen to that guitar line on Funky Christmas and you hear that lovely little sound that I can't identify, but it's like boo, boo. I don't know what that is. Rolls Royce had it on Love Don't Live Here Anymore, but the one, boo, boo. That was something that a lot of people were going for, and it's on Ring My Bell by Anita Ward too. Boo, like the one. I don't know what the hell they call it, but somebody that is an OG will gladly correct me on that. And of course, their version of Santa Claus is Coming to Town is a little shuffle job, and it's really, really good. The entire album. So yeah, Happy Holidays to You is number 7. Number 6, 1982's Love Is Where You Find It. We mentioned Love Is Where You Find It, the title track yesterday, for the Whispers Top 10 Love Songs. But this one was a little more of an upbeat nature in terms of Whispers albums. In the Raw is probably my favorite Whispers song? I think it is. I think In the Raw is my favorite Whisper song because this is, Leon Silvers in his funkiest bag. Him, who wrote the song? Charmaine Silvers, his sister, the late Dana Myers, co-wrote this as well. So it's a song about being true to yourself. And what better way to be true to yourself than get busy on the dance floor? So In the Raw is a favorite. Say Yes, I mentioned that one before. Turn Me Out, that's an up-tempo track with a little bit of a early version of Usher's Trading Places, if you will. So Yeah, Love Is Where You Find It was a really solid album. Really, really good album. Number 5. Now, this is the one I think that is the most slept on in the Whispers catalog. 1977's Open Up Your Love. I said it before and I'll say it again. People kind of sort of dismissed the Whispers catalog prior to 1980 as, oh, wow, they were just guys making records. No, they made really good records. Open Up Your Love is a makeout album. Make no mistake about it. And the key tracks bear it out. I'm Gonna Make You My Wife. Talked about that. Chocolate Girl. Absolutely love that song. You Are Number One, which of course Missy Elliott expertly sampled for Monica's So Gone. And I Fell in Love Last Night at the Disco. That was a nice little fun song. So Open Up Your Love is an underrated Whispers album. It's probably the most underrated in their catalog. Like, go back and listen to it and, check it out and let me know what you think. Number 4, 1978's Headlights. You sense a pattern here? Headlights was one of the last records before they finally got their break. And honestly, they should have broke with Headlights because Headlights was a really, really good album. I mean, you got Olivia, Lost and Turned Out on there. We've already talked about Olivia and how the Oakland Pimps were mad at the Whispers. The game is to be sold, not to be told. What you doing? And you're messing up the game. Whatever. One of the biggest songs Whispers ever did. Let's Go All the Way. That is a favorite. That one is one on my drive time playlist. Like when I have a playlist just for car rides in the daytime, it's summertime and upbeat stuff. Let's Go All the Way always gets me, grooving in the car when I really need to be attended to. I digress. You're a Special Part of My Life. That's a fun one. That's a great, ballad that, again, is written by Denise Williams. Denise Williams, Laney Groves, and Clarence McDonald, who, of course, worked closely with Earth, Wind, and Fire. You can hear Earth, Wind, and Fire on this song. Absolutely. You can hear Philip, doing this one. This isn't a Maurice EWF composition. This is Phil all the way. And Planets of Life. Planets of Life was the original Whispers debut album in 1970, but they re-recorded this song to talk about the zodiac signs for a late 70s disco vibe, because this is, people think astrology is something that people are just starting to get into. No, people used to ask each other back in the day as pickup lines, what's your zodiac sign? There's an entire song of dudes introducing themselves by their zodiac signs. Cancer, and my name is Larry. Float on. You know the one. But yeah, Headlights, really, really good album. Number 3, the one that broke the Whispers countrywide, finally, after 15 years on the Chitlin circuit. October 1979's Self-Titled. And the title track and the key tracks on this one absolutely are good and gold from start to finish. Lady, of course, was written by Nicholas Caldwell. Your body's designed by the wisdom of time. And the beat goes on, which is probably Leon Silver's, to me, legend song, to be quite honest with you, because this was a dude who literally said, I'm going to construct this track by myself, line by line. There's not going to be a whole lot of musician input on this joint. This is something I'm going to do. I'm going to give these guys a hit, and damn if he didn't do it, because that bass line is just, it's just boom, 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 and everything on top of it. Unbelievable. A Song for Donnie, of course, is to the melody of This Christmas, but they're talking about, people speak your name and what a shame, that he just, passed away so young. And Scotty just was literally, he laid his heart and soul into that song. Like, you could tell he really lost a friend and he wanted to honor that friend. And he did so on A Song for Donnie. Welcome Into My Dream. That's another one that kind of slipped under the radar for me as far as Whispers love songs goes. But this one was written by their musical director, the late Grady Wilkins. And it's a beautiful song about a dude who literally sees this woman as like just a figment of his imagination. It's like, a woman this bad, this sweet, this fine can't be real. So welcome into my dreams, damn it. And that's, again, this is the album that finally got the Whispers out of that, best kept secret bag and into the fast lanes of pop and a contemporary R&B success. Number 2, what came after with the Whispers? Imagination, October of 1980. So they were putting out records, year by year. It wasn't like the Whispers just were resting. They were like, well, we've put out a record this year. We ain't got to do one for another 2 years. Nah, they did a record every year, it seemed like. All right, Imagination. The key tracks off of that. It's a love thing. It's a love thing. Love thing. Say You, another one written by Nicholas Caldwell. I already mentioned the reason for me loving that song. Up on Soul Train. This was the Soul Train theme song from the fall of 1980 to the winter of 1983 before Don Cornelius went in for brain tumor surgery. And when they came back in the spring of 83, O'Brien's Soul Trains A Comin' had taken over. But the original version of Up on Soul Train was done by a family group called the Waters Family. And their version of that Soul Train theme song is definitely like a rough draft. But the Whispers version of Up on Soul Train is the one that Gen Xers and Boomers remember. And, it's the one that you heard during the early days of Luther's career. The heyday of like Confunction and, Angela Bofield and folks who would come on Soul Train, to promote their latest records and perform. And from 80 to 83, that was the Soul Train theme song. And I can make it better. I mentioned this during my Dana Myers episode. One of my favorite bass lines ever and one of the best messages ever. The Whispers were romantic dudes, even on the dance floor. Wipe those tears from your eyes. Don't you worry. Girl, I know just what you've been through. Like, yeah, these dudes just literally knew how to, again, these were grown men. By the time they blew up in the early 80s, everybody in that group was in the mid-30s. Well, except for Lavelle. He was in early 30s. But these were 30-year-old dudes who were mature and knew how to talk to women and knew how to romance women and make women relate to them. And relate they did. So, yeah, Imagination. It's not number one. Number one, though, is, fittingly, Just Gets Better with Time, 1987. This is when the Whispers had just become like R&B's elder statesmen. They're the ambassadors of the Quiet Storm. When you think about In the Mood, written by Babyface, Ellie Reed, and Daryl Simmons. When you think about It Just Gets Better with Time, written by Gary Taylor. When you think about Rock Steady, steady rocking all night long. And Give It To Me is underrated. Like that little keyboard part in the beginning, like it just sets you up, and the rain in the background. Like this is like just as much as In the Mood is a song for getting busy, so is Give It To Me. One of my favorite lines ever sung by somebody is Walter singing, "Though I may not be Michael J. or the Prince." Like these are the two biggest dudes of the mid-8 in 1987 at that point. Like, yeah, I ain't Michael, yeah, I ain't Prince, but I know I can give you what you need. So Just Gets Better with Time was the best way to describe the Whispers' career at that point. 1987, they had been together. Nick, Marcus, Walter, and Scotty had been together since 1963. Lavelle joined in 1973. And so that iteration of the group had been together for over a decade at that point. The core members, the originals, had been together for nearly 25 years. And they just all had it together on Just Gets Better with Time. So that is the top Whispers album for me. And I would like to know what you think about, the Whispers catalog, because you have to take into account that these dudes worked their tails off to be great. Like they were on how many different labels? They joined Doorway Records as youngsters in 64. They went to a label called Soul Clock where they released Planets of Life, where Seems Like I Gotta Do Wrong came out. Then they joined Janice for a few records. Then they went to Soul Train Solar, and then they were on Capitol for a good while. These dudes were on a lot of labels, and somehow they persevered. By the 15-year mark, people finally figured out, oh, hey, these dudes from LA sound really good. The twin lead singers, oh, that is wonderful. The tall black guys in the background doing all the steps, they're wonderful. And even people in our own community are like, damn, how did we miss out on the Whispers? And now you go back and you hear people digging back into the catalog. It was like, wow, we really missed the boat on Whispers originally. Thank goodness for N2B Goes On. Sometimes it takes you a little longer to discover, a great musical act. But the Whispers, again, just top notch, great singers. They knew how to, and they knew how to pick their tracks too. Like, I don't think the Whispers have ever sung on a bad beat. I just can't imagine it. Even the stuff on More of the Night isn't terrible. It's just material that was meant for younger audiences. But as far as everything, during the Solar days and the Philly soul record stuff, like the Whispers knew how to pick stuff that they wanted to sing on and sound great. And a lot of credit goes to Dick Griffey for that as well, because he was their manager. Dick Griffey took a personal interest in the Whispers before Solar Records was even a thing. Like, this was a dude who, served in the war. He was a Tennessee State alum. Like, he was, I think he served in Vietnam. I know he was in the service. I know that much. And this was a dude who said, if you let me manage you, we gonna go to the top. Trust me on this. We going to the top. And he kept his word. And he took a lot of other people to the top with him, starting Solar Records. But yeah, Dick Griffey deserves a lot of credit for getting the Whispers to believe in him. And they worked together. They worked so well together for a long time that, it was just a perfect partnership. And the Whispers themselves, they deserve all the credit. Scotty, Lavelle, rest in peace to Walter, Marcus, and Nick. They literally just saw this thing through to the end. They said, we're not done until we say we're done. And they literally, Scotty said it on the Unsung. We'll keep the Whispers going until there ain't no more Whispers left. And I really don't know if that's what he still wants to do. But if he does, I guarantee you, 5 will get you 10, as my grandmother used to say. 5 will get you 10. That people will still go see Scotty and Lavelle and their band. Trust and believe. Matter of fact, I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't go to the Dell just to show support for Scotty and say, just yell, we love you, Scotty. That type of deal. But there was enough people in the Dell for me to do it. Everybody else that was at the Dell that night absolutely did it. So if the Whispers come back this way next summer, I'm going to go. Because I want Scotty and Lavelle to know what they mean to us as a community, as Black people, as Black music lovers. And there's no denying that the Whispers have and still have an incredible impact on Black music to this day. So that's going to do it for this ride on the Groove Line. This was our top 10 Whispers album countdown. Tomorrow is Friday. So what we're going to do is, what do we do on Fridays? We dance. We have a good time. So we are doing the top 10 Whispers dance songs. I know you're going to tune in for that. Because the Whispers got some, they got some groovers now. Don't get it twisted. So I'm looking forward to bringing that to y'all. Thank y'all for sharing part of my birthday with me. Greatly appreciate it. If you would like to, if you want to, give me a love offering, if you like what I do over here, my Cash App and my PayPal and my GoFundMe campaign will be in the description below. So thank you guys for riding with me. One more day of Whispers Week. So let's make it a good one. Oh, we're going to because we're getting on the dance floor. So thank you for riding with me for this edition of On the Groove Line. Until the next time we ride, may you find the groove or may the groove find you.